Greetings and salutations, hornblowers. It is I, Eric J. Chucky, joined as always by the boy.
Hey.
This is the Two Nerds Podcast, and this is part two of 2013 movies that we watched. The movie homework. You read the fucking title. You've watched the previous two podcasts. You gave them a thumbs up. You went to the description and you read about all of the cool links. You went there. You deeply considered buying my books and then went, nah. Or subscribing to the Patreon and went, but my frappuccino. And I respect that, listener. I respect that deeply. And now you're here. You're here to watch this podcast, continuing what movies we watched in 2013. Yeah. I did a little bit of forward research here, so I know how to mete out these next few for pacing reasons. So I'm going to kick us off. I don't need to stall for time, but in looking at this, I had a couple of things that kind of came across my mind. Thing one is me saying I went through a pretty long My Little Pony phase. There was a long period before I started watching the show where I was like, this sounds really stupid. Why are people watching this? The reaction one would expect. Then I sat down and watched the show and went, oh, I really like this. This really appeals to me in a number of ways. After a couple of events, and I got to a certain point in my life, and I was kind of done with it. I don't dislike it. I don't look back on it in shame, but it's just not really my bag as much anymore. And that's fine. Which, literally speaking, that is a phase. It is a period of your life where you're something that you stop being.
It is a phase, Mom.
Well, and that's precisely...
Show me the permanent state of the self, Mom.
That's precisely why it's frustrating, because, it's such a dismissive... It's become such a dismissive term through, phrasing like that, I don't, as I said, I don't look back on this as oh, I'm so ashamed of it, or I can't believe I went through an X phase here, in this sense being the My Little Pony phase. Just a part of my life that was temporary.
Yeah, you can like a thing and not have any urge to go back to it.
Yeah, like you said on the last podcast about this shit. But I watched a movie. Geez, did I just watch it twice in a row? I sure did. Their first movie, Equestria Girls, 2013. I saw it in theaters. I don't remember if I saw it in theaters twice. No, we had to buy the DVD. I don't think it was in theaters. The quote I chose the first time was, "What are hands?" As the plot is the main character, who is a horse, goes into a world where all the characters are humans, and she is also a human. No truck is involved.
Oh, Jesus. No, we're not going to get that.
And if they do, they can point in the comments and be like, I got that.
Oh, my Lord.
So when she comes back to Horse World, she said that, she's in good hands. And then a character goes, what are hands? Because they have hooves. And actually the show is really good about paying attention to, replacing words like that. The second quote I chose was "ga," and fuck if I remember the context. So yeah, that's two movies for me. That was My Little Pony Equestria Girls movie twice. Let's pick up on what the boy watched here.
It was... Remember the rant I went on about Jason Statham last time? We're back, ladies and gentlemen, with 2011's Blitz. With one of the best opening lines in Jason Statham cinema history. Word of advice, girls. If you're picking the wrong fight, at least pick the right weapon. So a group of hoodlums all attack him with various bits of trash. And then he beats the shit out of them with a cricket bat. It is a movie about a serial killer named The Blitz.
Is that... that guy there? Is that him?
No.
Is he the Blitz?
No, he's not.
Motherfucker over here looking like Fred Armisen.
Yeah, weirdly. It is actually a really good movie. Separate from my love of Jason Statham, it's actually a pretty good suspense movie.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to spoil it. You know what? No, fucking I will. The guy who's the Blitz is Littlefinger from Game of Thrones, and it's a very different performance. Much better performance, honestly.
Cool. Now I have no reason to watch The Blitz. 2011.
You weren't gonna anyway.
Sure wasn't. Next, I saw The Purge. It was good. Quote I chose was, "We're having dinner, no penises."
They sure have made a bunch of these fucking movies, and I've never seen one.
So the first one was interesting in that it was like
a really over-the-top setup for what was ultimately an incredibly mediocre house invasion movie.
I wouldn't call it mediocre.
I mean, I haven't seen it, so I can't judge.
I thought it was good enough. I don't know that there are like way better home invasion movies out there. But I don't know. I guess I don't watch a lot of home invasion. No, you know what? I can think of a movie I watched a couple years prior. I can't remember the name of it, but it was those people with like the burlap masks.
When a Stranger Calls.
No,
Last
that's
House
a
on the
good
Left?
one. No, that's a way different movie. It's fine. It's not important. But
I keep guessing. There's a bunch of these.
Sure. Well, basically, I said that I don't think I'd seen a lot of them. My brain went, no. Here's the Rolodex. We're still working on a Rolodex. That might be the problem. I thought it was all right. Had some interesting character ideas in it, but it was the premise that got everybody really interested. And
then they just didn't execute on it.
No, and that's what all of the sequels are. Is just
hey, remember how we promised The Purge? We're gonna make a movie about The Purge, which is cool. I haven't seen any of these fucking movies.
The first one was all right. I haven't seen.
They became like a pop culture phenomenon, such that there are parody shows, and there's a Rick and Morty episode about The Purge, and it's just a term now. And I fucking have missed this whole wave.
Neat. All right, you watched this film?
I did. It is The Expendables 2. The quote I chose was, "I'll be back. You've been back enough. I'll be back. Yippee-ki-yay." And I can summarize this movie the way I summarize this movie in the actual comments for this. I love this movie for going all the way and being the big, ridiculously over-the-top, stupid love letter to the action genre that it is.
I've never seen these, and like, ironically, I have meant to sit down and do so.
Like the first one, you will probably take or leave. Stone Cold's in it though, so it'll be all right. Beyond that, man, they are your jam.
I know,
right?
They
are the absolute ridiculous, balls to the wall, over the top. At one point, Chuck Norris summons an air strike just by being cool and putting on sunglasses. These movies are fucking astounding. I love them.
God damn. Yeah. I'll have to sit down and give them a shot sometime. It just hasn't come up. I'm going to go back to me for a second. I watched Pitch Perfect. It was not my choice, but it was okay. Quote I chose was, "I can see your toner through those jeans." Response, "That's my dick."
Was it his dick?
Hers? No.
Okay. Fair enough.
I liked... This felt like in 2013, the kind of movie American Pie was, but targeted toward women.
I sure didn't see it, so I don't know.
I don't think you'd care for it.
No,
I think you'd like it more than you think you would, but I still don't think you'd care
for Rebel Wilson.
Yeah, and she's herself. I've seen one movie that I really liked her in. Most of the time, I'm kind of like, oh, okay. Yeah, that was the film. Let's go back to you.
I watched The Avengers again. From 2012, The Avengers. The quote I chose this particular time I watched this movie was, "Well, that's just the preview. This is opening night. Loki's a full tilt diva. He wants flowers. He wants parades. He wants a monument built to the skies with his name plastered. Son of a bitch."
We already reviewed The Avengers, talked about our thoughts on it in the first episode of this series. So,
and I think we did a podcast on it too. So moving right along.
We may or may not have. I don't remember. I watched The Breakfast Club, 1985, the year of my birth. The quote I chose this time was, "We're all pretty bizarre. Some of us are just better at hiding it. That's all."
This is a really good movie. Like, there's been a thousand videos and articles and reviews of this movie over the years. It's just a fine film.
I didn't see this movie until I was in my late teens. And yet, I think the impact it had on our culture still made it a formative piece for me in the years leading up to me actually seeing it.
Yeah, that's true. That's true for most of John Hughes' stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I've never seen Pretty in Pink. Never. But I know everything about that movie.
Sure. Well, and it's not even like I knew all the tropes or anything from Breakfast Club.
No, but they're baked into the culture.
Yeah. Just, it was so big for everyone else that Seinfeld is unfunny.
Yes.
But which that's not even true because I love this movie.
It is a very good film.
You want to talk about shit you quote all the time? Mess with the bull, you get the horns, my guy.
Yeah. Special shout out to this movie for actually portraying teenagers fairly realistically.
Yeah.
In that they talk, they talk like movie talk. They're way too eloquent and they're too pithy and all that. But at the end of the day, when adults get serious with them, they back down because they're scared because they're just teenagers, man. When the principal threatens to fight Judd Nelson does not fight him, even though were this a worse movie, he would have.
Yeah. Also, can you describe the ruckus? Now I want to watch a bunch of 80s movies. Now we're back on the same page again with Man of Steel.
We watched this in theaters. I spent a lot of years carrying water for this movie, hoping that they were setting up something better to come. I'm not going to do that. This is bad. My line and your line are both moments I love from this movie. Mine was a good death is its own reward, and that's it. It's a really good payoff and setup.
Mine is something we both still say. It's just stuff.
I literally quote this to people in my life almost weekly.
Yeah.
It's just stuff. It's not important.
No.
It's not real.
Honestly, that was a really well done performance. Martha
Kent is the best performance in the DC cinematic universe.
You know what? I was going to be all smug and mean about the next movie in line, but
we never saw it. I'm not going to bother.
Back off. I really liked Zod. I like the actor Michael Shannon, I think his name is.
Michael Shannon.
Or a guy who looks like Michael Shannon, one of the two. I really like that actor. I liked his portrayal of the character. I liked the aesthetic. I loved all the stuff on Krypton. I thought it was really interesting. Except for the really
in the Krypton series.
It's because it's a TV show, man.
That's fair.
Do I watch a movie? It takes me 2-3 hours tops.
That's fair.
I watch a TV show that's 9 hours of bullshit.
That's fair.
And it's almost always B-plot shit.
I really like the scene at the end of the movie where Henry Cavill gets to play Superman for like 10 seconds.
Yeah, that was a nice 10 seconds.
I really wish we lived in a universe where he got to play Superman for a couple movies, or a movie even. That would have been nice. This
was flawed from the start, because everything that's an issue with this movie is because they wanted to tell the story of Edgelord Superman.
It's all of a piece.
Yeah.
It is from roots up. And honestly, it is the roots that cause all of the various compounding problems in the rest of the DC cinematic universe.
Yeah.
One of the best movies in the DC cinematic universe is Aquaman, because it allows the character of fucking Aquaman to be fun. Superman should be fun.
That's why I like Birds of Prey. It's a gas. But I had a conversation with a friend of mine. I don't think he watches a podcast, but he pleaded the case that they wanted to have a darker Superman. This Superman is going to act like that because of who he was raised by, and I argue that
then he shouldn't have been raised by that person. That exists because you chose to make it that way.
Yeah.
Choose to make a better movie.
Choose to make a better Superman. I mean, we don't. It's not like Superman's new, and I will admit. This is my point of view for a lot of things. We don't need to retell the origin story. We don't have to do the same character we know.
One of the best things about the new Spider-Man movies is that they don't bother telling. Is I don't have to watch Uncle Ben die.
Sure.
Again.
But we also get a really genuine Spider-Man. And I think here's the difference as well. You're going into the big cinematic universe. You can fuck around with who Star-Lord is and still get everyone's buy-in to come to the big team-up.
Yeah, like the 6 dudes who are really fucking invested in Star-Lords are still going to come to see the movie.
But you don't want to fuck with Captain America. The only way you want to fuck with Tony Stark is to make him less of a heel.
And they did that.
And you don't want to fuck with, like, Hulk, for example.
For a long time, I said DC, Marvel superheroes are best when they're people. DC superheroes are best when they're gods, when they're archetypes, when they're aspirational figures. I don't know that I fully agree with that these days, But I will say that there is nothing aspirational about this fucking guy.
Yeah, that's the problem. You're supposed to look up to Superman. He's supposed to be the hero.
As it were, I don't look at this movie and believe a man can fly.
Captain America is a better Superman in cinematic universes.
Yeah, and the worst part is, Henry Cavill really wanted to play Superman, and he's a really good fucking actor, and in the few moments where he gets to play Superman, sad mustache aside, you can tell that he'd be really fucking good at it if anyone would let him.
He hasn't hung up the cape. As of recording, he is interested in playing Superman.
He's a fucking trooper, that guy.
He is. Well, I mean, what's the fucking matter? It's Hollywood. 2 years from now, no one's going to remember your big fuck up. No. Unless you pissed off industry people, nobody gives a shit.
That's true.
Did the movie make money? Fine.
So who cares?
Exactly. Henry knows this, and he is moving on with his life. I watched a short called It's Not You, It's Me. It was kind of cute. You can watch it if you want. Can we talk about what just happened? I can't really say anything without spoiling it. It's Not You, It's Me. It was made in 2012.
Many short films are 100% spoiler.
Yep. This one is one of them. I think then we come back. Yes, we converge on the Lords of Salem.
I'm feeling very negative in this podcast, and I apologize for that, listener. This is a bad movie.
I don't 100% agree with you, but I understand your point of view on that. Because of the way you and I digest film differently.
Like, I love Rob Zombie. I love almost all his works. He makes good movies. This is the exception to that rule. This is not a good movie. This is very boring.
I would not say this is his worst movie. I want to say that credit goes to Halloween 2. And Halloween 2 wasn't a bad movie. But, like, herein lies the difference between you and I. Because I thought this film was visually interesting enough. And I come from a background of watching, like, Dario Argento and a lot of, really visual old horror stuff. Mm-hmm. That's not so much about plot or character or whatever. It's just, wow, look at that. Isn't that weird?
Whereas I'm a character guy.
Yeah, 100%.
I love visual bombast, but I like characters. I would like to have at least one character I give a shit about in a movie.
So, and let me, give me a moment to elaborate my point here, or belabor it perhaps. I think that this isn't his worst film. It's down there. I'm super interested on the visual side, but that said, and on the mood it evokes and a lot of the cinematography and decisions.
On what Rob Zombie was there to do.
I don't think that's what he should have been there to do. I honestly think he fucked himself in the editing room. He had nothing but power over this movie, and he chose to cut out the majority of the scenes between Sherry Moon's character and the rest of the people at the radio station.
Which would have done a lot to humanize them and make me give a shit about any of these people.
And he chose to cut out the backstory sections. The stuff back in the 1800s or whatever.
Which would have made the movie comprehensible.
Yeah. I would have rather watched 3 hours of this film than the really neat music video with a plot we got. Actually,
that's a general note for anyone who is listening to this podcast, who is thinking about making a movie. If you're wanting to attract someone like me, I'm always going to prefer you to go long. I always want the movie that you want to make. Don't focus on making it a tight 90 minutes. Focus on making it however long it takes to tell the movie in a coherent and good way.
I'm honestly surprised, because I didn't know this for years, that he was the one who made those decisions. That he was the one who cut that shit out, or that shit even existed, and he fucked himself.
It happens.
It happens. I think
you make bad calls sometimes. We've all done it.
I think it's interesting. It's very much a 3 a.m. what the fuck am I watching kind of movie.
He made the movie he wanted to make.
Sure.
It's not the movie we wanted to see is not his problem.
I don't know that he actually even made the movie he wanted to make. When he talks about this movie, there's a lot he's happy about and there's a lot he's not happy about. But, hey, sometimes you got to meet deadlines or feel like you do. And sometimes you need to be done with a project just to move on from it.
I know that feeling.
So, your quote was...
Okay.
And my quote was, plastic gypsies with their crystal balls and neon signs have destroyed the value of my gift.
Sure. Literally, in response, okay.
I watched Mean Girls again. I watched Mean Girls on mute, and I knew what was going on.
Mean Girls is a fucking excellent movie. I love Mean Girls. I love Mean Girls so much, I spent years of my life wearing pink every Wednesday as a joke about Mean Girls.
The quote I chose for the area, we always put quotes. because then I continued quoting the movie for roughly a dozen comments and in the picture. Calling somebody else fat won't make you any skinnier. Calling someone stupid doesn't make you any smarter. And ruining Regina George's life definitely didn't make me any happier. All you can do in life is try to solve the problem in front of you.
Yeah.
It's just good advice.
It's just a really actually very good movie.
Oh, I posted that on my birthday. How lovely.
Nice.
2 days before October 3rd is my birthday, for the record. If any of y'all want to give me a gift. You know what gift you could get me is you could go into the description of this video and buy my fucking books.
Okay, Jay Sherman, calm down.
I'm the R-rated Jay Sherman. I get my wiener.
Buy my fucking book.
We watched The Hunger Games.
I like these movies. I've never read the books. I have no desire to. I have no desire to read a book series that the author clearly got tired of before she was done with it. That says to me, there's not enough here for me to give a shit about. But as movies, they're fine.
I wish I cared about editing this podcast. Because I could summarize my thoughts on The Hunger Games by giving you my positive thoughts on The Hunger Games, overdubbed. So I will go ahead and give you my positive thoughts on The Hunger Games. The first movie is good. The rest of the movies go downhill from that.
That's a fair assessment.
I don't think they ever quite reach bad.
No.
But after I finished...
They go to skippable by the
after
third
I
one.
finished the last one, I was like, I'm glad that's done now.
I'm glad we're ended here.
But the acting was good. The plot is interesting. You know, it's some good, teenage fare. I bet there's a lot of people who grew up on this that love it. The thing that I would have looped and done a bunch of audio effects to over top of me saying that is Tracker Jacker, Tracker Jacker, Tracker Jacker, Tracker Jacker, Tracker Jacker. I hate the lingo in this world.
It is like a step below like Cyberpunk, the RPG, in terms of making up useless fucking bullshit terms.
I don't know if you're talking about Cyberpunk or if you're talking about oh god, what is it? It's the fantasy Cyberpunk one.
God, yeah, I don't remember the name.
I can remember the fucking Fraggot Chummer.
Yeah, that's what I'm...
Shadowrun.
I'm talking about Shadowrun.
And in my years and getting older, it's still a little tedious, but when you're not my DM when I was 14 who is trying to tell me about how cool all of this lingo is, it's cool, you guys, it's really cool, and using it absurdly in every sentence. Like, for example, you grew up with issues with Cockney rhyming slang. It's a little annoying.
It is.
And when someone is using it, pretending like it's a language people speak, and not like people who actually use it, like Ross of Cultaholic, who just uses it now and then.
They just say it normally, like a normal thing you say.
Like, we don't speak exclusively in memes. We might make a reference now and then, Shaka when the walls fell, but Jesus. Anyway, I really just don't like a lot of the nomenclature. And it's not that bad, but like, Tracker Jacker is the one. I am not joking. This is not an exaggeration. Several times a month in my daily life, the back of my head just goes, Tracker Jacker, Tracker Jacker, Tracker. That's the dumbest fucking name for a thing. Who thought of that? Did someone in Universe think of that? Was that marketing? I hate their marketing department. It kind of makes sense and that bothers me. Tracker Jacker. That is not a joke.
It is funny, though.
Yes. What's the quote you chose?
I'm not good at saying something.
Embrace the probability of your imminent death and know in your heart that there's nothing I can do to save you.
Woody Harrelson's good in these movies.
Woody Harrelson's phenomenal. You watched Thor: The Dank World.
I did. It's a good movie. People shit on this movie. I don't know why.
I don't really get it either.
The people's like, oh, Thor: The Dark World's the worst MCU movie.
This goes back to my point in the last video. I don't know that you've seen a bad movie.
I don't know you know what a bad movie is, buddy. This is a fine film. Is it the best MCU movie? No, but it's not bad.
It's not Doctor Strange.
Lower your standards a little. Come down.
Jesus.
Just superhero movies. Fucking unclench. But the quote I chose was, if you even think about betraying him, you'll kill me. Evidently, there'll be a line. Tom Hiddleston is great.
Lady Sif is great.
I think this is probably people's least favorite MCU movie because it's the least fun MCU movie. This is a very serious film, almost wall to wall. Kat Dennings is like one of the few points of real levity in it.
Sure, that's fair. Like a lot, Thor goes through some shit.
It's a dark movie for an MCU movie.
Yeah. That is what it is. Are we caught up? Are we there again? No, you watched another movie without me.
I did.
This is called The Pact from 2012.
The quote I chose was, "You remind me of my daughter. You two have a lot in common. She's a fucking bitch, too."
Is that Ronda Rousey?
Kind of looks like her, but I don't think it is. This movie's really good. It's a horror movie in which the protagonist acts like a normal person and has good instincts and does usually the thing you should probably do in that situation.
That's refreshing.
Yeah. It was a decent film. Nothing like revolutionary, but it's really nice when there's a horror movie where the protagonist, where you're about to scream at the screen, do this, and then they just do that. They just do, like, as an example, there's a killer in the house. She immediately leaves out the front door, gets in her car, drives away, goes to the police station. That is the first thing she does.
Good. Smart.
She just does it. It's not like a walking through the house, is there someone there? Fucking sticking her head into doorways. No. Fucking, I'm pretty sure I hear someone in the house with me. I'm supposed to be alone. I'm out. And then she just leaves and goes to the cops. Immediately. Of course, the movie continues from there because it is still a movie. But I like that she has good instincts.
Sure. I mean, I think you have to go into a movie, like, trying to do something like that in order to write it that way. It's really easy to write yourself into a corner and then go, well, what would be a logical thing to do? Well, I guess leave the house and our movie's over.
Yeah, it's easy to not think about that shit, and someone took the time.
Yeah, and that's nice. Oh, no, you know what? Maybe I watched this away from you. Oh my god, I did. I fucked everything up. No! Cabin in the Woods I watched. Good work, Zombie Arm. Cabin in the Woods is an amazing set of horror movies. We talked about this already, didn't we? Yeah, because we did the the wolf kissing thing.
Yeah.
Loop. Okay, now I'm there. I'm figuring out how my brain just did that. In fact, the picture I chose for Thor: The Dark World was the scene your quote came from.
Yes. Where everyone slaps Loki.
My quote was Darcy, Jane, Ian, Selvig, meow meow.
Kat Dennings is one of the few bright spots in an otherwise very dark movie.
And I think we might be approaching. No, I've still got some more movies. I fucked it all up. Listener, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry I called you Hornblowers. Adventureland. You're so strong-ish. I'll take that. This is a fun little, indie-style film. I had a good time watching it. Coming-of-age sort of tale.
Yeah. It's widely regarded as a fine movie. I've never seen it.
It's good. Then I watched The Conjuring. I don't know if y'all remember that. I know you do.
Oh, I do.
But the place we worked at was a shithole call center at the time. I might have actually been out of there by this point. But everybody there pronounced The Conjuring, a film whose title was, pronounced in the ads for it
as The Conjuring.
I'm rewatching someone play Final Fantasy VIII, as around the recording of this video, and Final Fantasy games especially, because there were some weird words in them and weird concepts, suffer from that pronunciation thing.
The classic Aerith Eris sort of.
Sure, I mean that's a little bit deeper into issues, but it's like in most games, it's like you don't need to. Well, I mean, shit, I was about to say that, and you get you guys who say Mario, and you get you guys who say Mario, so fuck.
Yeah, you get you guys who say Mario, and your guys who are wrong.
I agree. But someone suggested that SEED, the organization of soldiers that the main characters belong to in the game, might be pronounced seedy.
No, it's a plant reference, dumbass.
Because they live in gardens. Yeah, it's... Anyway, Conjuring. God brought us together for a reason. This is it. This was a wonderfully fantasized version of... I've forgotten their names.
Based on true events.
Based on true events that were definitely a hoax, but...
But shush.
Well, but they took it as though it were 100% true and then embellished on top of that. Really good film. Patrick Wilson exists
Patrick Wilson is good in it.
Patrick Wilson is good as anything he's in. He doesn't have to try.
But he does anyway.
He does anyway, and that's why he's a good boy. I watched Pitch Perfect again. Neither of the times I watched Pitch Perfect were by choice. I was in the room. Synchronized lady dancing to a Mariah Carey chart topper is not lame. We sing all over the world and we compete in national championships. On purpose? Yeah, like I said, you'd like the movie, just not that much. Okay, now we're caught up. No more fucking up from me. I must say, this film is Silent Hill Revelation. I forgot how spot on her look and outfit were for the character.
Yeah. The quote I chose was, "I'm looking for my father. Is he lost? He's in Silent Hill. Well, there are many Silent Hills. Are you sure this is the one? Or are you sure it's this one?" Rarely do I pick a quote and have the picture I choose be from the same scene.
Yeah, because there's usually, multiple things to draw from.
Yeah, and it's usually a funny joke. Sometimes I will try and pick a quote that is humorous juxtaposed next to the scene I've picked. But in this case I did because it's my favorite scene in that movie.
Mm-hmm. It was overall a mediocre movie. Nowhere near as good as the first one. But it had some really bright spots.
Yeah, like this scene.
Yeah. My picture was a Pyramid Head because he's awesome. Wow, and we actually chose the same quote.
It's the best quote in the movie.
I guess.
It's a really good scene.
And Silent Hill is a fantastic concept. I spent several years of my life just poring over art books and lore about Silent Hill monsters and what everything in Silent Hill means. Silent Hill was Dark Souls before Dark Souls was Dark Souls.
That's a fair assessment, I feel like.
Yeah, because, you don't necessarily play through Silent Hill 2, the most iconic of the Silent Hill, and go, this entire game is repressed trauma of this guy's sexual abuse toward his wife. But it sure is.
Yep.
So,
Oh, God.
Oh, boy.
Fucking movie. This is a conspiracy theory movie.
Yes.
It's full of falsehoods. It is wrong on almost every level. Literally almost nothing that they say in the movie is accurate. I think we've both picked things that are quotes from other better things that are used in the movie out of context to make them seem more correct about this absolute, unbelievable fucking hokum. A friend of ours convinced us to watch it. It's bad.
Our friend of ours is somewhat of a conspiracy theorist. The fun thing is that if all of our friends watch this show, and they don't, but if they did, a couple of them would gone, I don't remember having them watch Zeitgeist.
The movie is Zeitgeist from 2007.
I don't recommend it. I say in the comments, please don't watch this movie.
I believe in the comments I say, if you watch this movie, you have to read this thing I found, which is just a big list of debunking all of the lies in it, aka the whole thing.
But the quote I chose, which was, again, as you said, from something that was footage that they were referencing in the movie. Life's like a ride in an amusement park, and when you go on it, you think it's real because that's how powerful our minds are. The ride goes up and down and round and round. It has thrills and chills, and it's very brightly colored, and it's very loud and fun for a while. Some have been on the ride for a long time, and they begin to question, is this real or is it just a ride? And other people have remembered, and they come back to us and they say, hey, don't worry, this is just a ride. And we kill those people.
Mine is, think about it. Religion has actually convinced people that there's an invisible man living in the sky who watches everything you do every minute of the day, and the invisible man has a special list of 10 things he does not want you to do. And if you do any of the things on any of these 10 things, he has a special place full of fire and smoke and burning and torture and anguish where he will send you to live and suffer and burn and choke and scream and cry forever and ever until the end of time. But he loves you.
I was recently watching an episode of the Game Grumps but he didn't quote it, but he mentioned it. Danny is talking about this and how profound it is.
This is a quote from a much better thing that they used in Zeitgeist.
It sure is.
I'm almost offended that they did.
I believe at the time you were a little aghast. But let's move on to another movie of yourn.
Remember about Jason Statham? Here we are again.
Does he fuck that nun?
No. So the movie is called Redemption. It's from 2013. No, I'm from down there. It is a movie about a man who has fallen on hard times. I believe he's a veteran, and he is homeless, and he's making a very hard way through the world. Then he accidentally stumbles into a very fancy apartment that he didn't mean to break into, really, but got into. And it's a very fancy apartment full of a lot of very nice things and expensive items, and the person who lives there is on vacation, and no one's watching his house. So he uses it to get his life back together. He uses it as a place to stay. He gets himself back in shape. He uses the man's nice fancy clothes to get a job interview and get a job. And then he gets all the way up to the very penthouse of, a person who is the villain of the movie, who is exploiting poor people for profit. He helps a homeless shelter who had helped him in the past. And I believe this is years ago, but the villain was planning on doing something bad to the homeless shelter. That's the line he says right before he throws him off the penthouse.
That's really good.
Because he asks, where are you from? Are you from this rival corporation or that rival corporation? Because it's clear Jason Statham is about to do violence to this man. And then Jason goes, no, I'm from down there. And then he hucks him off the fucking roof, and it's so great.
Yeah, that sounds like a really cathartic film. Oh, gorilla on the other side of the glass. Did we both watch them? Gotta do a little searching here. Yeah, we did. So I've got some. Wow, you got some movies in between me. Go ahead.
Number 34 on my list for we're in December, folks. We're almost through 2013. Is All-Star Superman. All-Star Superman. Do me a favor. If you're going to read All-Star Superman, watch this movie instead. Just do me a solid. Do that.
Do yourself a solid.
But it's a quote from Lex Luthor. After he has finally been granted all of the many powers of Superman, he can finally see the world as Superman does. It's a cruel joke. The mechanistic clockwork of reality hinging on a precious, impossible defiance of entropy. On life. And the clockwork doesn't care. It's like it's just us. In here together. We're all we've got. I really like Lex Luthor as a character.
I do too. Lex is the reason I got into Superman, period.
He's the villain, and as I've stated many times on the podcast and many times in real life, Lex Luthor works because a part of you wants to root for him. A part of you has to root for Lex Luthor. A man
It's why I hate purple and green Lex.
Because it misses the point of it.
Yeah, he's just a Saturday morning villain.
A regular human full of nothing but bloody-minded vengeance and a vast intellect trying to fist fight God is a character you should want to root for, even if he is an unbelievable asshole all the time. This is a really great culmination, and besides that, it's a really fucking good Superman story. It is a really good distillation of All-Star Superman, which is not a comic that I feel has aged super well. Not in like it's, problematic now. It's just, boy, is it Silver Age as fuck.
All right. Another movie from you.
Number 35, Night Watch from 2004. It's a Russian movie, so this is translated from Russian. Mom, are vampires real? Yes, Igor. They are little boys who have been known to suck all of the life out of their parents. This is a fine movie. It's very much a man ends up behind the masquerade, discovers the secret supernatural world lurking underneath society. Nothing special, just fun. Number 36, Daywatch, 2006, the sequel to Night Watch. I shall control the fate of the world. Response, but you can't even control your own fate. This is the inferior sequel to Night Watch.
I'm learning a lot. Mm-hmm. Okay, we're caught up with each other. Yeah. The Hunger Games, we watched it again. This is just the first one? Oh, no, we're not caught up with each other. I watched the rest of Hunger Games, maybe. Oh, what the fuck? Okay. Anyway, the quote I chose was G, B flat, A, natural D. which is the Hunger Games sound.
Yeah.
Because this is not a quotable movie. So that will bring us forward to... No?
I don't think you saw the second one.
Maybe I didn't. How bizarre. Because it's on the same day as the weird thing.
Yeah, that is weird. Mine was The Hunger Games Catching Fire, which I remember seeing in the theater. Remember Who the Real Enemy Is. This is a good movie. This is probably my favorite movie of the three. There are three, right?
4.
Okay, so it's definitely my favorite movie of the 4. I didn't remember the fourth one.
I believe they did the Harry Potter thing and split the fourth one.
Oh, yeah, that's right. And the fourth one was entirely fucking forgettable. Mm-hmm. The third one was fine. Margot Robbie was in it, if memory serves. Not Margot Robbie. God, the one who played the Tyrell girl on Game of Thrones. I don't remember her name anymore.
That one was okay.
But this one I think is my favorite of the Hunger Games movies. The first one is a good Battle Royale clone. This expands upon the concept a bit.
And that's kind of the thing. Yeah, it's like... It's the opposite of the Purge.
Okay.
You sold me the game, The Hunger Games, the movie, as a Battle Royale. Cool. The Hunger Games 2, what is that? It's kind of like a Battle Royale.
That's part of it.
It is part of it.
All right, about as much as the skeletons are to the David S. Pumpkins.
What's Hunger Games 3 about? Oh, underground resistance movement. Well, that doesn't seem at all like the first movie.
Feels like you've maybe abandoned your premise.
Yeah, which, I mean, obviously, overall, it's based on books, blah, 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 whatever. I understand that. I'm not trying to be shitty, but for me as a movie watcher, because I could give a shit about this novel, I'm good. I don't really want to watch a movie about an underground resistance. But The Hunger Games is cool. Yeah, that was cool. The first one. The second one departed in a way I didn't care much for, and that was not the focus of the movie. There was a lot of,
This is also the one with Philip Seymour Hoffman in it, if memory serves.
Sure.
But continuing on.
Yes, continuing forward. Where are we? I think we watched that together. Yeah!
Yeah, this is good.
This is the end. I'm not a big stoner comedy fan.
This is 2013's This Is the End, the Seth Rogen movie.
In some year before, well, maybe it's on this list somewhere, I watched Pineapple Express and was like, yeah, it happened. I laughed sometimes, but I wouldn't go watch it again.
This is a good stoner comedy.
Yeah, this is really fun. It's got that same sense of humor, but the shit they do in this film is really enjoyable. The quote I chose was, "Yay!"
I remember that. That was very funny. Shit. The quote oh yes, I already knew what this was gonna be. Oh, is it compelling me? Is that what's happening?
If you don't remember this movie, it was the apocalypse was happening.
The apocalypse is happening in Hollywood, and all of the actors in the movie are playing basically played up versions of themselves. The worst aspects of their personality.
Mm-hmm. I think that's where a lot of this movie's charm comes from. It's just that it's a bunch of people working heel. Yeah,
and they're doing a great job.
Yeah. Did we watch this together? We did! Yeah, this is when we all watched it together. The Hobbit, Unexpected Journey. The quote I chose was, "Good morning."
The quote I chose was, "In a hole in the ground there lived a hobbit. Not a nasty, dirty, wet hole full of worms and oozy smells. This was a hobbit hole, and that means good food, a warm hearth, and all the comforts of home."
I really liked the first Hobbit movie.
So did I.
Yeah. I have a couple in between here, because I think that was our last movie of the year.
Do you think, homie?
I watched Equestria Girls again. I enjoyed it. You're from an alternate world and you're a pony princess there, and a crown actually has a magical element embedded in it that helps power up other magical elements, and without it they don't work anymore, and you need them all to help you protect your magical world, and if you don't get the crown tonight, you'll be stuck in this world and you won't be able to get it back for a really, really long time. Which was a character summarizing exactly everything that needed to happen in the movie, because, it was time for the third act. It was one of those, how do I explain this? And then someone who shouldn't have known all that posited that explanation. And they went, yeah, all right, well, let's fucking go.
Fair enough.
Then I watched, as was tradition, A Christmas Story. I have chosen racially insensitive Deck the Halls as my quote.
Not gonna do it, are you?
Not in 2020, my guy.
Oh.
Life has changed. And the movie we closed out the year with this fucking face I keep coming back to.
There's a reason I fucking picked this face.
Oh, you know what? Fucking save as. I'll do it in a second.
What did you pick for your quote?
My quote was, "My balloons. Those are my balloons. He stole my balloons. Why didn't somebody tell me he had one of those things?"
Oh. And this was 1989's Batman. And I chose, and now, folks, it's time for Who Do You Trust? Hubba, 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 money, money, money. Who do you trust? Me? I'm giving away free money. And where is the Batman? He's at home, washing his tights.
This was a really fun movie.
This is a rough fucking sit, my dude. This movie did not age well.
Bad Batman movie.
This is a terrible fucking Batman movie.
Y'all bitching about Martha versus Martha. This shit is no better. Now, as a film, I can't comment. I haven't seen The Batman and the Infinite Sadness, but I had a good time watching this.
Oh, this is a fun movie,
Yeah,
but it is a fucking terrible Batman movie.
Ugh. Block. Erg. Flech.
I love it, though. Let the record show, despite all of that, I fucking love this movie.
I mean...
Rough sit. Wouldn't watch it again. But I love it. I believe that wraps us on 2013.
Yeah. This is fun, and we're going to keep doing it until we run out of years.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah, so...
Everything's better when nerds talk about it.